Amen, amen. You know, it's okay. I know Dad's only, Deacon Garvin was saying in Sunday school this morning, how the arm of flesh will fail us. And yes, we fail each other all the time. Yes, it is expected for me sometime to do this or to do that, and sometime I don't do it. And the same with you, but God has never let us down. Whenever we need him. Somebody sing a song, when I need him most. Amen. He steps right on in. All he's saying is, hey, prove me. Isn't that what he say over in the Old Testament? When he talks about the tithes, he say, prove me. Try me. See, won't I open up the windows of heaven? And not only when it comes down to tithes, but when it just comes down to faith, God says, step out on it and trust me. Now, does that mean that we're going to get everything that we ask for all the time? No. Amen. I'm really done. But the one he wanted to play it safe. Gonna hide it. So we're gonna do it this way. We're gonna play it safe. Stick it in the ground. When he come back, I can give him what he gave me. God expects interest. He expects for us to take whatever it is that he's given to us and make more out of it. Isn't that what Jesus did? Every time he was put into a situation, Jesus took a little bit and made a lot out of it. Didn't he take 2 little fish, 5 loaves of bread? Didn't he feed over 5,000? Little is much is when it is in the hands of the Lord. Our little in the hands of God can be a whole lot. But we got to get it out of our hand and get it to God's hand. We got to let it go. Whatever it is, let it go and let God. And so finally, the master, he returns. See, God is going to come back, and we all are going to have to stand before him one day. And we're going to have to give an account of our stewardship. Now, as a believer, we already done made it. We done made it over, all right? Y'all with me? As a believer, we ain't going to have to stand before you to see whether or not we're going to heaven or hell. That's not the question. As a believer, we already made it. But now our stewardship is going to be judged. Our stewardship is we're going to have to stand before God, and we're going to have to give an account of our stewardship. And he's going to say, Steve, what did you do with the talents that I gave you? Well, right. I mentioned this passage. I'm not going to turn to it, but over and I mentioned it in Bible study. And it talks about how we're building on this foundation. Said, are we building with gold, silver, precious stone, wood, hay, or stubble? And this is what kind of stewardship do we have? Is there anything of value being, are we doing anything that's, let's say, tangible or worthwhile? Maybe that's it. Are we doing anything worthwhile with what God has given us? We can either build on this foundation. We can either use what God has given us as either gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, or stubble. But know this, it's all going to be tried. One day we're going to stand before God, and our works, the fire is going to triumph. And I used to have a problem with this song, I don't want all my labor to be in vain. But that song is true. Because everything we've done hasn't been right on point for God. We've done some things to make ourselves look good. We've done some things to kind of pat ourselves on the back. But the thing is, I don't want all my labor to be in vain. And so when I stand before God, all of my works, God going to turn the fire up on them. And either my works is going to stand or it's going to burn up. But I pray that when it's all said and done, when the smoke is clear and it's come down and all the dust is settled, I pray that I still have something standing there that's either gold, silver, or precious stone. Because if we don't have anything left but wood, hay, or stubble, the fire is going to consume it. And Paul tells us, he say, we're going to be saved. He said, but we're going to suffer loss. Say, you're going to make it. Now, let me just put it like this. We may be on, I use this illustration. The illustration that I use is when I was in college, we went out to Dallas to play in a tournament. And so while out there, I said, well, the Dallas Mavericks was playing Portland Trail Blazers, and Clyde Drexler was playing for the Portland Trail Blazers, and that was my man at that time. So I wanted to see Clyde Drexler play, the Portland Trail Blazers play the Dallas Mavericks. So I said, well, let me go down here and see if I can't find me a ticket. So they had a fella that was scalping tickets, y'all. Say, hey, a scalp ticket at that time now, I said, this was, a scalp ticket is better than no ticket at all. Not good, y'all, not good. But I bought that ticket, and when I went in to see the game, I thought I would be somewhere okay. But I was so high up. When I looked down at the court looked like my iPad. And I'm sitting up there and I'm saying to myself, this don't even make no sense. I was beyond the nosebleed section. I got to look at the game. Now, it was okay looking at it on the monitor, but I wanted to hear the ball bounce on the court. And I wanted to see it. I want to see Clyde Drexler. Now, why did I say that? I don't know what the case may be when we suffer loss. I don't know where you'll be at or where an individual may be in heaven. It says they will make it. But I don't want to be so far from God while I'm in heaven. Y'all hear what I'm saying? I don't want to just be satisfied with just making it in, but I want to be around the throne of God. I want to get everything that God has for me. I don't want to be in the low income side of heaven. I don't want to be in the bad part of heaven. I don't want to say bad part. I don't want to be in the less affluent part of heaven. I want to be right there where God is. Now, I know God is everywhere. Somebody is saying that. But I'm just making an illustration, all right? Some folk are just satisfied just being in the number. You know how we say that, just as long as I'm in the number, as long as I make it. But what good is it to just to be there and You missing out on everything. You could have had a Bentley. Now you got to go around on Pat and Charlie. I'm just saying. Your feet. Could have, Jesus say he's going to prepare a mansion, but what if your mansion is a little mansion? Now, even for the person that's content, they say, that's all right with me. I'm satisfied as long as, whatever I got is good. But why just settle for a little when we can get the whole shebang? Now, in order to get the whole shebang, we got to be a good steward. We got to take what God has given us, and we got to use it to glorify him. Notice, we're not doing, as doing some things, sometimes we help one another, and I want you to understand that. But we're not working for one another. We're working for the Lord. As we work for him, we help one another. But all of our work and all of our service is for the Lord. And as long as we look at it that way, then what people say, what people do, how people act, is not going to hinder our work, because we're not working for people, but the Lord. Amen. Can we all grasp that? Can we all accept that and stand on that? Can we all, maybe let me put it like this, can we all resolute or resolve today that, you know what, from now on, I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what anybody, how people may act. I don't care if they never pat me on the back, because I'm not working for them. I'm working for the Lord. And see, here's the thing in working for the Lord. You see, one day when we stand before him, I don't know about you, but when I stand before the Lord, I want to hear him say, servant, well done. You've been faithful over a few things. You took what I gave you and you used it to your best ability. Now come on up a little bit higher so I can make you ruler over many things. Amen. That's the message. Understanding stewardship. I know I'm employed by Good Hope Missionary Baptist Church Incorporated, all right? But I ain't working for Good Hope Missionary Baptist Church Incorporated. I know you're a member of Good Hope Missionary Baptist Church Incorporated, or whatever church you are a member of, but you're not working for that church. We're working for Jesus. Amen. And he's going to reward us according to our works. Amen. So as we all stand. So from this day forward, this is a challenge. And I've already said it. I'm going to repeat it. I hate to be redundant, but I'm going to repeat it again. The challenge is put your blinders on. I don't know if that's what they call them, but you know how when you see the horses, how they got the little thing on their eyes? And they're racing down the track. It's because they don't want them to see what's coming up on the side of them, because it might distract them. But they can look down the track. And if we got our blinders on, and I'm not saying that we're going to, just folk are no more needed or obsolete. But put our blinders on things that may cause us to stumble or cause us not to go on. There are some things that people will do and say, and I'm human just like you are. And there's some things that folks say to me sometimes, or some things that people do. Sometimes, you know how they say, just want to throw the towel in. But I have to realize, and I have to talk to myself sometimes. You know what? We got to talk to ourselves. We got to encourage ourselves sometimes. We got to let ourselves know, you know what? Them rascals, they talked about Jesus. Matter of fact, they killed him, or he laid down his life. They thought they killed him. And if they did that to Jesus, just imagine what they'll do to you and I. And so we have to encourage ourselves. In spite of what people say, let's quit making excuses on other folk on why we're not doing what we ought to do. Whether folk encourage us or not, I don't care. But it's about the Lord. So let's resolve. Let's make this official today that I'm in it for Jesus. I'm in it for Jesus.